In this lesson, we'll learn about drawing freeform paths in Illustrator. Alright, so in the previous lesson, we learned about the pen tool and how we can modify some shapes using our pen tool. Now remember, the pen tool draws a very mechanical, precise path. Let's say that we're using a tablet and a stylus, and we want to create more of an organic, freeform type path. There's actually a couple tools that we can use for doing that. Now the first one we're going to talk about is the pencil tool, and it's right here in your tool panel. Let's go ahead and just hold down on that option there, and let's go ahead and snap this tool set out. Now there's a couple other tools underneath that here, being the smooth tool and the path eraser tool, but we're going to talk about those more in just a little bit. Let's go ahead and switch over to our pencil tool here. It's also the keyboard shortcut N if you want to go ahead and use that. Now the pencil tool actually has an options dialog we need to go through before we start using it, because we need to understand how it works. So let's go ahead and double click on our pencil tool and bring this dialog up. So the first thing you'll notice here is in the tolerance section there's a couple sliders, one for fidelity and one for smoothness. Now the fidelity slider is going to control the number of anchor points that Illustrator is adding along the path you draw. The lower this slider is, the more anchor points that are going to be added. The higher this slider, the less anchor points. So I usually work with this slider all the way down here because I want as many anchor points as possible, because that means Illustrator is going to accurately represent the path or the line that I'm drawing on my tablet. So the smoothness slider is actually going to control how much Illustrator corrects the path you draw and smooths it out for you. I don't want it to do that at all, so I keep that slider pretty low. Now there are a couple of other options here. We have an option to fill new pencil strokes. I usually work with that off unless for some reason I'm working on something where I want the path or the shape I'm drawing to be filled. So we'll work with that off for right now. We have one for keeping our path selected after we draw it, and then we have an edit selected paths option. Now that's checked as well. We'll talk more about editing selected paths here in just a little bit, but let's go ahead and click OK on this pencil options dialog. And I'll go ahead and just zoom in down here. And I'm just going to draw in a path here with my pencil tool. Now you can see here that this path is very organic and freeform, and it has a lot of anchor points along the path, these little blue dots. So if we deselect that by holding down Control, notice my Control modifier key is actually accessing the black selection tool instead of the white direct selection arrow. That's because I didn't choose the direct selection arrow before selecting my pencil tool, but that's okay for this lesson. So notice here that there's some divots and some shakiness to the line. That's exactly how I drew that line on my tablet. So there's another tool next to our pencil tool here called the smooth tool. Now the smooth tool is going to allow us to smooth a path out, and it has a couple of options if we double click on it here, very similar to the pencil tool options, being fidelity and smoothness, and they do pretty much the same thing. So let's just go ahead and use the smooth tool to smooth out this path a little bit. Now I'm not going to actually use the smooth tool as I have it selected here, because the real benefit to the smooth tool is it's available to us as a modifier key from the pencil tool. So let me just go ahead and switch back to my pencil tool here. I'm going to select this path, and let's just go ahead and hold down our Alt key. Now, in doing that, you can see that I switch over to the smooth tool. I'm just going to begin smoothing this path out by drawing on top of it. That looks pretty good, so we'll just deselect that here, and you can see how the smooth tool has smoothed out some of the imperfections in the path I drew. Alright, now the pencil tool actually has some different states similar to the pen tools. If you notice here now, we have a little X next to the pencil tool. Now if you remember back in the previous couple lessons working with the pen tool, that means that the tool is ready to begin drawing a new path, and that's exactly what it means here with the pencil tool as well. Let me go ahead and select this path here and show you what else we can do with the pencil tool. Now if we mouse somewhere near this path, that little X disappears. Now if that disappearing indicates that we're ready to extend a path. So I can just click here and begin drawing, and we're going to extend that path just a little bit. So you can see here, if I deselect that and hold down my Control key, we can move that around. That's all one path. Let me just smooth that out just a little bit here. That looks pretty good. Now I'm going to come in here and draw a second path. Let's draw one in sort of like this. And we'll just smooth that out just a little bit here. Alright, so the pencil tool can actually connect two paths as well. So let me just go ahead and hold down my Control key and draw a marquee around both of these two paths. And let me go ahead and just zoom in on both of those here. Now, in order to connect these two paths, we're going to do something similar to extending one of these paths. We're going to begin drawing here when our X disappears, and as we draw, we're going to go ahead and hold down our Control key. Now, you can see in doing that, there's a little link icon next to my pencil tool, and if I release that near the endpoint for this second path, we're going to connect the two paths, and then we can come in and smooth that out if we want to. We can do that again over here. Let's go ahead and select both paths. And when our X disappears, we'll begin drawing here. And we'll hold down the Control key and link those two paths together. So smoothing those out. One tip on connecting paths like this is you want to go ahead and try and connect them in the same direction that the path is ending. We'll just go ahead and zoom out here now that we've connected that. Now, that's a lot of work to go through to create one closed shape with the pencil tool. If we want to create a closed shape, it's actually a lot easier than that. If we want to do that with one stroke of our hand, we can just begin drawing our path with the pencil tool. And as we're drawing, we can hold down the Alt key. Now you can see here that the X is changed to a circle, and wherever we release that is going to complete that path with a straight line. So obviously the closer you get to that original anchor point, the more seamless this line's going to appear, or this path is going to appear. So let me go ahead and just do that here, and I'll just release it really close, and then we can come in here, smooth it out if we want to, and we've got our closed shape. Alright. Now, drawing basic freeform paths and closed shapes with the pencil tool is pretty cool, but in my opinion, the real power of this tool lies in the ability to reshape other objects. So let's come up here and just take a look at this rectangle for just a moment. We can actually use the pencil tool to reshape this rectangle simply by selecting it, and if we mouse over this object, you can see here again our X is going to disappear. Now, where that X disappears is actually controlled in our pencil tool options by this little slider here. Right now it's set to within 20 pixels, so we can reduce that, we can increase that however we want to, because we're editing a selected path now. So let's go ahead and just get in nice and close on top of this path, and let's go ahead and round this corner off. I'm just going to come in, begin drawing, and I'm going to stop drawing over here on this path segment. And you can see here we've rounded that corner. Now we can come in and smooth that if we want to. And you can see how we've used the pencil tool to modify this shape. Pretty cool, huh? Now, there is actually a second tool for drawing freeform paths, and it works just a little bit differently than the pencil tool. It's called the paintbrush tool. It sits right next to the pencil tool here in your toolbox. Now, the keyboard shortcut for the paintbrush tool is B on your keyboard, so let's go ahead and switch over to that right now. So, we know that the pencil tool works and it applies whatever color we have selected here for our fill and our stroke, and it uses the stroke weight we have selected. Now the paintbrush tool is going to work a little differently. It's not actually going to use the stroke weight we have selected in the same fashion that we did with the pencil tool, because it's going to apply a custom brush stroke to the path we draw. Let me just show you what I mean. I'm going to go ahead and just draw another path here. Let's just zoom in on this area to the right. Let me just draw in another path. You can see here that stroke looks much, much different. It's actually being applied because we're using the paintbrush tool now, not the pencil tool. Let me show you where the custom brush strokes are managed. They're managed over here in the brush panel. Now, we're not going to talk much about this panel right now, but in the next lesson, we're going to go into the brush panel in detail and talk about the different types of brushes that exist here in our brush panel.